welcome to my live. Today is Wednesday, the 10th of September 2025. It's 6 o'clock p.m. UK time, and I'm going to be here maybe 1 or 2 hours, more or less, depending on who's around and if people are asking me questions. And so, yes. For those who don't know me, I'm a therapist and a coach, and I come here as often as I can, both YouTube and TikTok, live to talk about anything to do with mental health, therapy, human behavior, human psychology, relationships, understanding why we are the way we are, why we feel the way we feel, why we react, interact, and react to one another the way we do. And so the way I always start my life are by reading and commenting on some of the posts that I put out today on TikTok. So I'm going to do just that, and hopefully by the time I am done with a handful of them, some of you would be there and would have mustered the courage to ask me some questions about yourself, perhaps. Let's get started. The first post goes like this. If you argue with idiots, you are one of them. Let me just make sure that the sound is up. So yes, if you're arguing with idiots, you're one of them. And so the whole point of that post is to highlight that there's no such things as idiots. There's, however, an action that's going to display some habits of ourselves that are not necessarily that positive or empowering. And so, first thing first, idiot is a judgment. No one is an idiot. We are all an idiot within certain context. It is contextual, it's relative. Because being an idiot means that we don't know something. And here's the thing, we all don't know some things in some contexts and situations. And so by calling someone an idiot, now we're judging them and saying that they are always like that, whatever they do, and it's just very unkind. So I want to realize that if you're going to argue with someone, so this is a whole different angle to look at it, but if you argue with people, you are choosing to be one of those idiots, to waste your energy on your time on things that no one cares about, really. But also, as I said before, the argument is that there's no such thing as someone that is an idiot. It's like saying that someone is lazy, selfish, weak, or any of those things. They're just judgments that we do because we have been conditioned by society or by religion. It's the same. Whether we are religious or not, society is structured on religious dogmas. And so because we have the idea of sins, righteous, sinners, good people, bad people, now we are automatically, habitually, judging ourselves and others all the time. And so we want to really realize that it's just a bad habit. We don't need to do that. If we can replace judgment with intelligence, understanding, open-mindedness, then now we can really do something else with that word. And so if you argue with idiots, you are one of them. Conclusion, don't argue with people. Sometimes we can't help. So if we are being carried away by our emotional state, we just need to follow whatever our body is telling us to do based on our program. But there comes a point where we can realize, maybe I don't need to get invested and involved in all those battles, in all those quarrels, in all those arguments, but I'm just wasting my time. And because now I'm realizing that whatever conversation it is, it's just about win and lose. No one are really ever learning about those situations. We're just arguing for the sake of arguing. I hope that makes sense. I'm a bit clumsy today. My mind is a bit slow. I've been working a lot, and I'm very happy with what I've done today, but I need to make sure that I can squeeze whatever mental energy I have left for that live stream. So that was the first post. Now let's move on. Second post. Actually, no, there's something that I want to add about that conversation, very important, because I've been thinking about it watching other people's posts or comments on threads, for instance. And some people say that obesity is a choice. And some others, like me, say that obesity is not a choice. And there's a huge passion involved into that sort of conversation. And again, just as I was saying before, this is the result of us having been conditioned to judge others and self based on sins, based on the Bible, or based on the Quran. Any Abrahamic religion would have the same sort of judgment. And we just do this automatically, and we don't question ourselves. We don't realize that if we think about it, obesity, is it a choice? Why would anyone choose consciously, intentionally, rationally to be obese? No one would do that. No one in their right mind, if you can look at it from a rational mind's perspective, would ever do that. Why would you be in a state of discomfort? Why would you be unable to move? Why would you be looking at yourself in the mirror and not liking what you see and allowing for society to put you down at every single opportunity? No one would choose that. And so when people are suffering from obesity, it's because they have some emotional blocks, some emotional attachment with food, and they're overwhelmed by stress and anxiety. And so all those things together get them to behave like that. But it was never a choice. If we decide to judge people and say, you are greedy, you are disgusting, you are lazy, you should lose weight, that's because we are continuing, perpetuating the habit of judging others, of being cruel. And again, the original sins. This is greed, gluttony, and we're just doing something that has been around for thousands of years, and we have never questioned those habits. And it's time for us to question those habits, because we don't want to carry on forever without evolving, expanding our potential, starting with the way we think things, the way we experience things, the way we behave with one another in society. And so, second post, when you're healthy, you have thousands of dreams and wishes. When you're ill, you only have one. Don't take your health for granted. So this is just to highlight how paramount and important it is for us to look after our physical and mental health, but also how we take things for granted. And it's only when we don't have those things that we realize that we're lucky enough to have those things. So if we can have a step ahead and not wait for the thing that we love not to be there anymore, to regret them, then we can maintain those things instead. And so look after yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. And finally, the third post that I put out today on, that I'm going to put out tonight on TikTok, goes like this. Indifference to what doesn't serve you is redirecting your focus to what does. Just let me check something, please. I don't know if I put my... Today is... Oh yeah, no. So yes, indifference to what doesn't serve you is redirecting your focus to what does. So what it means is that we spend too much time wasting our attention or focus on the wrong things. And because we do that, we have less focus onto the things that matter to us. And so basically choose what you're going to put your mind on. If we focus on nonsense, drama, fighting strangers on the internet, being angry at the state of the world, then we are creating something. We're creating anger, we're creating frustration, we're creating depression, we're creating a very dark world. And that doesn't serve our happiness. It doesn't help us with any of our purpose either. And so the opposite of that is to focus, is to let go, is to learn how to be indifferent to the things that don't matter. So that now automatically we have more energy, time, and power to use on the things that do matter to us. Is there anyone in the background? Can anyone hear me? I haven't seen any comments yet, and I never do any live at that sort of time, so I wanted to make sure that everything is working as fine as it normally does when I come live at other times and days. Again, for those who are new, who don't know me yet, who are just catching this randomly, I'm a therapist and coach, and I come here to give advice, to suggest some recommendations based on my knowledge, expertise, and experience on me being a therapist. But I'm interested about anything to do with the mind, and so it's not just about therapy. We can talk about spirituality, we can talk about psychology. You can talk about understanding the mechanics of the mind. I saw some meter hot, so I think someone is watching on. Hi Didi, awesome to see you live. Fantastic. Okay, finally one comment. And so, if any one of you want to ask me anything, that's why I'm here for. Up to this point, I just talk and I fill up the emptiness, the void, because I understand the nature of social media and I know that people don't know me, so they need to have an idea of who I am and what I do. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to read some more posts and comment on them, and hopefully at some point some of you will be inspired to engage, start a conversation with me. Here's one. The way you treat others is your legacy, your karma, and your opportunity every day to change your reality. And this is to highlight how the way we treat others shape our reality, shape our lives, shape the nature of everything in our world. Sometimes we look at the world and we're like, why is it happening to me? What can I do about that? And there's something we can do about it. We can treat people better. We can be nicer, kinder, better to them. And that will shift everything. It will shift the way we feel in this world. It will shift our relationship with the people. And so, yeah, that's a way to get started. Purple West, hi. Hello, Purple West. I normally stay here a couple of hours, but I'm going to say, unless the live takes off, and some people ask me questions, I may finish sooner. So please ask me anything if you have anything you want to talk about, because I do love coming here, but I have tons of things to do. So it's really important for me to make sure that I'm not optimizing my time. Anne, do you use teachings from Buddhism, or is it all natural? You're very grounded. So I appreciate Buddhism. My teaching is from everything. First, from my job as a therapist. I need to have an understanding of human psychology, and because I'm looking after people, I've been doing it for 8 years. I've learned an awful lot about the human nature. But also, I do have my background and my interest in Eastern philosophies. A big chunk of what we use in therapy is mindfulness, and it's all from Eastern philosophies and ancient wisdoms from that part of the world, India, China, and so there will be always some element of that in my narrative, yeah. But I'm not just talking about this. The two main things that I'm about is psychology and spirituality. And spirituality is quite big. It encompasses a lot of things. It's just a different way to look at things. But it has a place in psychology as well for some of us. Not for everyone, but for some people. The best tools that some people may use to change, to heal, to transform, could come from a spiritual perspective. I had a feeling, very good vibes. Thank you. Super Mario Subpina. Respect that choosing time. I respect that choosing time for yourself. Okay? Purple West. I try to treat everyone with the same love and respect, but how should I deal with someone who refuses to reciprocate? It's a very good question. So, if you are annoyed or feeling down because that person is not reciprocating your act of kindness, it's because at this point in time you have the wrong idea about how things should go. You are not being kind to others. You are having and expecting and organizing an emotional transaction. If I do something kind to you, you must be kind back at me. And this is how we are conditioned to behave in life. So it's not your fault. There's nothing wrong about you. We all start like that. We believe that because I treat you like that, you should treat me back like that. Because I behave like that, everyone should be behaving like me. Otherwise, they're bad. There's something wrong about them. But this is not how we should be doing this, because it's just a tit for a tat. We don't care. We just want something back. We want also some external validation, some confirmation that we are seen and loved and accepted by them. And we must realize that when we are being kind to others, real kindness is free. It's unconditional. If I'm kind to someone, I don't expect anything back from them. If it happens, I can celebrate. Of course, I'll be happy. Why not? Some people are kind to us. It's always good and nice to feel. But we don't want to expect it. If we expect someone to give us back what we have given to them, then it was not a free gift. It was not love. It was not kindness. It was not goodness. It was just us, in a sense, manipulating them, really. I know it sounds nasty, and I'm sure that you don't mean it like that consciously, but this is what we do. We manipulate others, and we make them feel bad after that. How come you didn't reciprocate that act to me when I was kind to you? Now they're feeling, oh, it's true, I'm bad. And now we're living in awkwardness and shame, and there's no need for that. We're all different. We're all at a different place in our journey. We have all a different start as well. We all have different baggage. So we can never expect, compare, or assume what is going on in other people's mind. If we want to be good to people, we want to do our best to come from a place of goodness. Otherwise, it's still better than being unkind to them. But I think it's important to make the difference between being genuinely kind and between being nice. Very different. Being nice and kind is different. Being nice is being a people pleaser, is wanting to be a good person, fit into society, behave the way everyone should be behaving. But it doesn't really come from the heart. Being kind is because I want to be kind to you. I want to give you something. It makes me feel good to do that, and I don't care about what you're going to do with that. It's like people who are giving money to homeless people. Some people like me, if I give money to them, do what you want with that. You want to buy alcohol, it doesn't matter. It's my gift to you. I want you to use it so that you have a moment of freedom. But some people, they give money to homeless people, and they're like, you should buy some food. Or they're not happy if they don't buy food. They give them some food. They don't want to give them money. And to me, again, they're being people pleasers, kind, they're being good people. And to me, it's a different way to do things, but it's not tapping into our potential, our full potential, which is to give, just for the sake of giving, and let the universe do its job. The rest has got nothing to do with us. We're not God. We're not in control. We're not in charge of anything at all. We're only in charge of what sort of energy we want to radiate, what sort of legacy we want to share through our interactions with people. I hope it makes sense. What do you say, Purple West? How do you deal with someone who refuses to reciprocate? You learn how to look at them through the lenses of compassion and empathy. It's them. It doesn't mean anything at all. I can choose to do this again in the future or not. It's not a problem, but you don't want to expect anything from anyone. Expectations creates disappointment and suffering. And I know that it's hard because we are human, so we are conditioned to do that. But if we can learn to let go of expectations, we are also letting go of the habit of attachment. And this is a Buddhist principle again, so that we stop creating suffering for ourselves. If we have expectations and attachment, our happiness depends on external factors that we have no control over. And so we're deliberately creating, planning, organizing sufferings, disappointment, letdown for ourselves. And so, yes, what do you think about this Purple West? Sweep Golf. What is your educational background and where is your accent from? Very interesting. My educational background, as a therapist, I am a clinical hypnotherapist and an RTT therapist. So I learned from as a peer. I've been doing it for 8 years. But my main background, as far as my career is concerned, is my own life story. And so all the things that I treat, I suffered from. Up to the age of 38, I was highly depressed, anxious, angry. I've got bipolar, borderline, ADHD, CPTSD. I was addicted to class A drugs and alcohol and anger and sex and all sort of things. And I was homeless from the age of 12. I was a very different person, very angry, very hateful, very reactive. I tried to unalive myself many times. I ruined every relationship. I was emotionally dysregulated as much as anyone can be. I had hallucination and all those things. And so I was very different. And somehow things started to happen and change in my life. And I was able to understand some aspect of me. And so I started to gather tools to read books, to learn about the mind, to do some courses, and eventually that's what I've been doing now for 8 years. So there you go. I am an RTT therapist and a clinical hypnotherapist. And my accent is French. I was born in Paris. My genes, my genetics is Chinese, and I've been living in London for 29 years now. Super Mario Subpenia. Thoughts on emotional labor. I have run into setting boundaries, but then being asked to explain why. I don't feel like I need to explain when that labor is put back onto me. No, you don't have to explain. You don't owe explanation to anyone. You're right, absolutely. When people are asking you why, they're still trying to control you, to manipulate you, to make you doubt, to gaslight you. Just say, this is my rules, take it or leave it. Love me or leave me. That's it. And if they still ask why, just go. We need to really realize that we allow people to take advantage of us. We allow people to keep controlling us, to make us feel bad. We don't have to. We do this. This is why I always say to people, you don't suffer from people. You suffer because you allow them to hurt you. That's the difference. When we're children, when we're a child, it's different. When we're a kid, we are victims of our environment. But when we're adults, we become architects of it. But of course, this can only be possible if we realize that we are no longer the victims we once were. And that's why we suffer, because most of us, we don't realize this. We still live in the past. We still react emotionally like the child that we were, because we have no coping mechanism. And so every time we're overwhelmed, in that moment, we are back into the shoes of the child that was hopeless, helpless, confused, lost, angry, frustrated, and that freaks out. Instead of switching on our rational mind and deal with things from a logical, calm perspective, so that things can be sorted instead of feeling bad because of life. I'm very much into psychology and philosophy, but it is very hard to put effort on yourself. I can talk and help other people easily, but I like it for myself. A bit of a Chiron feels like a duality. Okay, I can talk about this. So it's very simple. The reason why you find it difficult to apply it on yourself is because you are not maybe reminded or familiar with the fact that you have two minds. You have a cognitive mind, thoughts, rational, logic, philosophy. And you have an emotional mind, emotions, feelings, sensations, belief. And so basically, we all have some subconscious blocks, some subconscious triggers, some subconscious filters that are essentially creating our program. As an adult, our whole life is run by that subconscious automated program. And no matter what your interests are in that department, if your heart, your body, your emotional self doesn't align with that, there's going to be discrepancy. And that's why a lot of time, many of us, we know that I should be doing this, and yet I can't do it. And I should stop doing that, and yet I'm still doing it. Why? Because knowing is the realm of the conscious mind. Believing, understanding, feeling is the realm of the emotional mind. And knowing is worth nothing until we believe, until we accept, until we can feel that it's right, until there's an alignment between what we think and how we feel. And that's why you find it difficult to apply on yourself the things that you understand intellectually. You understand it at that level, but your body is resisting, rejecting, pushing against those things because you have your own trauma, you have your own baggage, you have your own unhealed wounds from your past. I hope it makes sense. But we can talk about this if you want. That's why I'm here for. Sweep golf. Thanks, that is interesting. Okay, thank you, Sweep golf. Purple West. My love is free, but I have some close relationships where I have received gaslighting and abusive language in return. Okay, so we have different love for different people at different time. So maybe the way you see yourself is that your love is free indeed. But in those moments, when you expect something from them, in that moment, your love is not free. So it depends on the moment. I know, and I'm sure that you see yourself like that, and I'm pretty much sure that you are someone who has a strong interest in spirituality and being kind and all those things, and it's all good. But we must be honest with ourselves and realize that at some times we can be unconditional, but there are other times where we're not. And the reason I'm saying this is just based on what you said. That's it. I'm not judging you. I'm just commenting on the words that you have written on that thread. And basically you said, I'm expecting for them to reciprocate. And so it means that if you have an expectation at the subconscious level, it doesn't mean to be here, but at the subconscious level, you are still waiting for something back. It's an exchange. It's an emotional transaction. And so in that moment, the love is not free. If your love was really free, you would just give it away and you wouldn't even think about asking that question or talking about it, right? Now you're talking about the fact that some of your close relationships have been gaslighting you. And so this is a whole different conversation together. If people are gaslighting you, if people are manipulating you, if people are being unkind to you and hurting you, you don't want to love them. Why would you go? Well, it's not that you don't want to love them. You can love them, but you can love them from afar. You don't have to suffer to demonstrate your love. You don't need to allow them to hurt you in order to love them. So that's a whole different conversation. If you have a family that is narcissistic, that is dysfunctional, that is abusive in any way, don't give them a chance to hurt you. If you give them some time and space, it's not love that you are giving. It's you still seeking approval from them. And it's happening at the subconscious level. Again, you're not choosing this consciously, but you're still expecting them to give you something that they have never given you. If they've been gaslighting you, you know that whatever you want from them, whatever you're expecting from them, is not going to happen. It has never happened. And so the problem is not that, it's not the conversation about whether you give love that is free or not, it's why do you do this for? Because you want something from them. You want recognition, you want closure, you want acceptance, you want to realize that everything that happened in the past was not because of you. And this is the part that you want to address. Right? Recognize that some people are not kind to us, and we must accept that it's never going to change. But we can choose to stop seeing them and to love them from afar. We don't let them hurt us. We have set some boundaries, but we can still, not all of us, but some of us can still practice forgiveness and compassion and say, okay, I understand. However, I need to protect myself now. So I'm going to stop allowing them to abuse me. What do you say, Purple West? Are we on the same wavelength? That makes sense. There is block between my body, understanding, and emotional aspect. Thanks, and yes, I'm full of trauma. Okay, we can talk about this. Again, I'm a therapist, and so it is very, very indicative of the human nature. We're all designed like that. We all suffer because of the discrepancy between that mind and that mind. And if anything, really, people who are very intellectual, people who are very clever, people who are overthinking, people who are trying to analyze everything, people who have interest in philosophy and psychology, for instance, it's a cliche. I'm exaggerating. But those sort of direction are people who do this precisely because they want to avoid feeling certain feelings. So if they have some trauma, and they have understood, believed, accepted that there are part of them that are bad, they're ashamed of, they're scared of, so they're trying to avoid certain feelings. And how do we avoid feelings? By seeking shelter in our head. We don't want to be in our body because that's where our feelings occur. So we're going to hide and find shelter in the head, and we're going to over-intellectualize, over-analyze, overthink, over-break down everything that we are feeling so that we don't need to feel it. We can think it instead. But the more we think those things, the further away we get from understanding what it means, because it's a different language. Your head thinks into with the language of words, pictures, images, sentences. Your emotional mind utilizes the language of emotions, feelings, and sensations. It's a different energy, it's a different vocabulary, it's a different language. So if you're going to think how you feel, you're never processing those emotions. You're just thinking them, and what happens is that you end up repressing them, you're ignoring them, you're suppressing them. And because emotions are energies that are vital and needs to be processed, if you ignore them, they're going to be trapped into your body, they're going to become toxic, they're going to create a lot of mental and emotional and even physical illnesses over time. And so you want to learn how to feel your feeling. You want to acknowledge the anger, the sadness, the shame, the disempowerment, the helplessness, the vulnerability, all of those things. Learn how to reconnect with those feelings and emotions. And realize that they're not going to harm you. They're there to tell you something about yourself. And the more you do this, the more, as you process those energies, the more you're able to let it go. And then you start to feel better. And you won't need to overthink everything and try to control everything from the head. I hope it makes sense. Super Mario Supina, thanks for the reply. Of course, of course. Oh yes, that's me. Okay, so there you go. And this is the paradox of it. We want to think things because we think that we can find a solution, the answer to our problems. But the more we do this, the further away we get from the solution. Because the solution is not to think it, it's to stop thinking about it and start to feel. Accept your body, accept your emotions and your feelings. It's okay. If you can learn how to feel without thinking about it, there's not a single emotional feeling that can last for more than 90 seconds in your body. It will just evaporate. Think about all of those emotions that you have. They are all different parts of you. If you avoid some of them, it's like avoiding some little children that want love and attention. So if you ignore them, they're like, look at me, and you're like, yeah, whatever, go away. What are they going to do? They're going to keep pushing and again, and they're never going to stop. It's only when you start to acknowledge them and process them that they are going to say, okay, now I'm seen, now I'm heard, now I can chill, now I can relax, now I can go back to wherever I come from. And now you have found peace and mental clarity again. And so learn about emotional intelligence. Stop thinking about things and learn how to feel. It's a different type of intelligence. It's actually much more important than rational intelligence. And that's because 95% of our mind is emotional. Only 5% is cognitive. And so we spend so much time in the cognitive mind, not realizing that we have that machine that is immense, that is so powerful, that can do so many things. But also we must realize that whatever we think is limited by how we feel. And so if we are trapped here, one of the ways to expand that is to expand here first. Whatever we think is allowed, authorized, and dictated by how we feel first. Even our choice of thoughts, it's an illusion of choice. Whenever we think something, whenever we think we are choosing something, it's an illusion, because that choice is limited. It's determined by what your emotional mind believes your choice is. And thanks, Didi. I sent an email also. Thanks for the explanations. Okay. An email. Is it for a discovery call with me? I'll check it out later. Yeah. Nice. Good. I'll check it out later. We can organize something and see where it takes us. Super Mario Subpenia. What are some good daily gratitude practices? There are plenty of them. It depends. Thank you for the little hearts, by the way, whoever it is. Practice of gratitude. Gratitude is a magic superpower that reveals happiness, that reveals goodness, that reveals hope, that reveals empowerment. And so, very simple ones, there are plenty of them. They're all stuff that we do when we learn about mindfulness. The simplest one that I often share is just for you to think about. Let me tell you a simple one that I discovered yesterday. So I saw a video from a monk explaining how we can practice gratitude by looking at our food. We eat food every day. We forget about the process that it took to get the food into our plate. So we are just downloading it, ingurgitating, throwing it down our food, and then we move on. We don't realize all the steps that were necessary for the food to arrive on our table. So think about what you eat. It's been grown somewhere. It took someone to plant a seed and to nurture that seed with some love and some water and some sun and some time to grow into fruits, vegetables, whatever, grains. And then that farmer eventually has taken a lot of time to gather, harvest that food and to put it into certain places. And then he get into contact with some sellers who bought those things and transported them into the supermarket or whatever shop. And then some people have put those things into certain shelves. And then someone came to buy it, and maybe a chef bought it, or maybe you bought it yourself. And then either that person prepared the food for you, or maybe you did it. And it's a process. It takes time, it takes focus, it takes experience to do this. And eventually that food that has traveled such a long way, that has been handled by so many hands and so many people, is a meal in your plate. And so before you eat, be aware of that and realize, gosh, that is a miracle in itself. Now you're realizing that this is not just a plate of food. This is an adventure. It's a story. It's a saga as far as the element of the food is concerned. And so next, you can also practice mindfulness and gratitude about the act of eating the food. So this is more about mindfulness, but it's the same thing. When you eat your food, switch on every single one of your senses and take it one bite at a time, and then look at the texture, smell the smell, feel the texture in your mouth. Take your time to chew it until it is dissolved. Switch on all your senses. You can really have a full-on experience of the flavor and the consistency of it. And then allow it to go down into your belly, and then feel your body being regenerated and being fed and being activated by that beautiful, feeding, healing food. And now you are really making the most of something that is very, very mundane for so many of us. And so mindfulness and gratitude go hand in hand. But here's one example, something that I discovered just a few days ago, watching a random video on TikTok. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's so simple. We never think about those things. But of course, the classic way to teach gratitude is to just think about 3 persons that you love unconditionally, and think about them, visualize them, and give them a mental hug, and wish them a fantastic day. Wish them love, health, happiness, success. Wish them all the things that you know they would wish you. And as you do that, you will feel that gratitude, you will feel the love, the happiness. You will feel yourself changing state physically. So it's a meditation that you can do every morning as you wake up, before you get started with the day, so that you can get started with a smile, with optimism, with love, with happiness, with different perspective. So that's another way to do this. Gratitude is to realize that you only have this moment. You only have now. There's nothing else but now. The future is an imagination, and the past is an interpretation of something that doesn't exist anymore. There's only now. And so in the now, you can choose how you're going to feel about yourself. Do you want to choose to feel disempowered? I want this. I can't be happy until I have this. I will only be happy when I lose a stone, when I have the job of my life, when I'm loved by someone that I like, when. So we are never happy in this moment, and the moment is all that we have. Or we can choose to think, what do I have now? What have I got right here and now that I can appreciate? What is good about my life? What is good about my journey so far? And now we're changing mindset, and we're operating from a gratitude mindset. We're seeking, like a detective, like an explorer, the good things about ourselves, about our life. And as we do this, we're feeling better. I am grateful. I'm appreciative of the things that I have now. I want more. And it's great to want more, because we are here to evolve and expand, and so there's nothing wrong about it. And so we want to know that we can have more and we will have more, but it doesn't matter how much we have if we can't appreciate what we already have here and now. And so this is where abundance starts. Abundance starts with appreciating what you have. And as you do that, then now you will be in a better predisposition to manifest more for you. I hope it makes sense. Does it help, Super Mario? Bin, however, do you think that the darkness in life is good so that we can know what the light is, or in another way, that by knowing what darkness is, we can appreciate and be grateful for the light? Yes. So this is the yin and yang. The yin and yang, you have light and dark. You have full and empty. You have plus and minus, and so on and so forth. And basically, when we look at the world from the perspective of the yin and the yang, it's not good or bad. It's just two opposite forces that complete each other and create life, fluctuations, and movement together. And so if you look at black and white, black is not bad, white is not good. They're just colors. If you look at day or night or anything like that, look at a battery. A battery has got positive and negative. When you think about electricity, positive is not better than negative. They're just complementary. They work together to create that movement. And this is the same thing with everything in life. You want to realize that darkness and light, they all exist for a reason. One cannot exist without the other anyway. Everything is contextual. Everything is relative. And so if there was no light, if everything was dark, there would be no dark or light. It would just be that. We need something opposite so that there's a contrast. And now we can create a dimension. We can create a depth. We can create different, how do you say? I forgot how to say it in English. But we can understand a picture of the world. If you live in let's say if you live on a planet and you're on your own, you're never going to know if you are tall or short because there's nothing for you to compare yourself with. And so in that sense, yes, dark is not bad. And so if we can use that to realize that everything in the universe is based on the same principle. People say the universe is chaos. And it's true that it's chaos as far as we are concerned. From our perspective, the human being is chaos. We don't understand what's going on. But from the universe perspective, it's not chaos at all. It's all well organized and structured, and everything is planned for a reason and work together with everything else. And so it's only chaos because we don't understand the bigger picture, and we probably will never understand, and we don't have to understand everything. But there's one thing at least that we can realize is that such as there is black and white, dark and light, start and end, there is destruction and birth or rebirth. And so as far as the universe is concerned, even the bad stuff, they are part of a bigger picture that are there to get for the universe to keep on expanding itself. If things don't happen, don't change, things are stagnant and nothing happens, and there's no point in the universe to exist. And so that's why there are some good things and some bad things, because they need some contrast at any level. Destructions, natural disasters, wars, conflict with people, but also unhappiness, depression, anxiety, anger, fight. All of those things are necessary because they're all part of the full spectrum of human experience. It's all part of it. Now, it doesn't mean that we want to spend our life suffering, but the truth is that we will all experience suffering anyway. We all know what it is to be desperate, to be angry, to be hateful. We will all know, but we'll also know what love and happiness and joy is about, and hope, dreams, creativity, anything. The difference is going to be the timing, the order, the level of amplitude and intensity, but we will all experience the full spectrum of thoughts, emotions, state, and it's all good. It's all valid. We want to be better because we have a body, so we are designed to prefer what feels good, of course. We want to feel good. When we feel good, we can think clearly, we can create, we can expand, we can contribute more positively to society, for instance. But we want to realize that whatever we've done because we've done those things because it was what we were meant to be doing in that moment. We don't need to have shame. We don't need to have guilt. We can let go of this. We can replace self-judgment with understanding. We can replace judging others also with understanding. If we can have more empathy and compassion for others, now we are reducing that illusion of division between us and the others. We're reconnecting, and we are more able to, again, expand our own level of self-awareness in our personal human experience. I hope it makes sense. So yes, Bin, it's all good. K Long, hello. Sorry I'm late. Oh, don't be sorry. You're here, that's good. Did I miss the question on procrastination from yesterday? Thank you. No, I haven't studied yet, so I can talk about it if you want. Thank you for, I can now remember. So basically you want to know about procrastination. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about yourself and how I can address procrastination? I'm more than happy to talk to you about it in long, deep land, but I need you to maybe give me something about you so I have an angle to tackle it from, to get started from. Bin, thank you for that. I'm glad you appreciate this. I'm going to have a sip of coffee in the meantime. I'm going to get started. Kelong, okay, let's talk about procrastination. Procrastination is not something that you want to get rid of. It's not a problem. It's not something that you want to overcome. Because everyone get it wrong. Procrastination is a system that your mind has created to protect you. It's protecting you from overwhelm. It's protecting you from certain feelings. It's protecting you from some things that your mind understands is not good for you. And so the first thing that I can talk about is feelings. If you're not doing something, it's because there's a part of you that believes that I'm not good enough, I'm going to fail, people are going to laugh at me, mock me, and reject me. And so maybe in that instance, your mind is protecting you from the fear of rejection, from being judged, from being seen. There could be also the fear of success. Some people have a fear of failure, some people have a fear of success. And so if you believe that success is not available to me, based on what have happened to you in childhood, then your mind is going to keep you away from success because it doesn't want you to face that thing that it doesn't know what it is. If you really believe that success is not available to you, your mind is going to think, if I get success, I'm not going to keep it for very long. Life, God, the universe will take it back from my hand as soon as I get it, because I don't deserve it. And so I'd rather not have it, so not to be disappointed when I no longer have it. So that's a different way to look at this as well. So that's only one possibility. But there's also when we suffer from depression or anxiety. If we are neurodivergent and we don't know how to function in society, we're going to be overwhelmed. And we have different priorities. We need to address our depression. We need to address our anxiety. We need to find some safety at any cost. And so you look at your work and your mind is thinking, I don't care about this. I want you to heal. I want you to do something else. I want you to address that priority instead. So that could be why procrastination is there for. It's telling you, we don't care about this. We want you to do this instead. And on the same point of view, frame from the same angle, also, maybe procrastination is keeping you from something that you don't like. Maybe your inner mind knows that you shouldn't be doing this. Maybe you're just doing this because you want to please your parents. The studies, that career, you're trying to please your boss, your teachers, your community. You have an idea, a set of belief about what should be successful and accepted by people, and so that's why you're doing this, but your heart doesn't agree with that. Your heart rather do something totally different. And so maybe because of that, procrastination is there to remind you, you know what, sort this. You only have one life. Do your thing. You have something that you love. Do that thing instead. And so, yes, those are just different perspectives as to why procrastination exists. But essentially, it's trying to protect you from something. So if you can find out what it is it's protecting you from, all you've got to do is to address that thing. And then the procrastination will go. It's a system that is there to protect you. So if you don't have anything to protect yourself against anymore, the system will just go, right? But I think one of the reasons why people procrastinate often is because they are forcing themselves into doing things that we don't really want to do. That's one thing. And the other big thing is that they're not happy in their life. They're overwhelmed. They're burned out. They're stressed out under too much pressure. So the system shut down. I can't keep going. You need a rest. You need to find some happiness, some joy. You need to do things that you enjoy, that makes you happy. And so there are all those reasons and so much more. But this is what procrastination is. Procrastination is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's there to tell you that you must focus your mind and your time somewhere else. Either you must chill, rest, or you must change your career altogether, or you must address some of your beliefs that are all to do with low self-esteem, being judged by others. So yeah, external validation, people pleasing, all of those things. That's it. What do you say, K Long? Did that help at all? And again, if you tell me more about yourself, we can address the reasons as to why you may be procrastinating and what we could do about it. Carlo, it was someone else's question, but it resonates with me. I tend to prioritize others, external conditions, we prefer to focus inwards. Okay. Carlo, thank you, Carlo. Helen Van Patterson Patton, thank you. You're welcome, Helen. So now, next conversation, anyone want to talk about anything at all, please do ask me. This live started very slowly, but I'm glad that it picked up a little bit, and I'm going to try to keep going live in those sort of days and time. So at this point in time, I'm going to try Wednesdays and on Fridays from 6 o'clock p.m. UK time and see if I can get a little momentum with a sort of timing with the live streams. Sean, it's Bin. What is one thing you've learned from your clients and people here that has had a positive impact on your own life? I learn something every day. I learn something from every single client that I work with. And it's ongoing, so the list is long. I don't know. Let me try and find something that would satisfy your question. But I genuinely, this is the mind that I have. I have an ADHD mind. I'm obsessed with growth. I am obsessed with psychology and therapy and spirituality. So I think about those things every day, all the time, and I'm always naturally expanding my mind in regards to all of those topics. And so with my clients, every single case, I learn so much, every single one. I learn from talking with people, from watching random stuff on television. My mind is always going. And I'm always blowing my own mind by realizing, gosh, this is really good. Now I'm putting the dots together, it makes sense. And so if I want to say something, there's one thing that I can share with you. And it's a topic that is very important to me, and I'm writing a book about it, amongst other things. The one thing that I have learned from working with people, observing people, being a people, is that we all live in our bubble. Every single person in the universe, in this world, on this planet, have their own bubble of reality. And it's all vastly different from anyone else's. And we all assume that some people around us have or must have the same bubble as us. And it is because of that we suffer. We project, we expect, we judge, we assume, and all of those things are creating suffering, clashes with other people, and it's all because of that. And so, in other words, there's not one reality. There's not one universal truth. There's only our experience of what we call reality, based on our belief, based on our triggers, based on our baggage, based on the filters we have from within our bubble. If we could understand this, if we could accept this, and a lot of people cannot accept it, they're scared, they're terrified, they can't accept that they're losing grip of that reality. But if we could accept this now, we can start to reconcile with ourselves and with the others, with the world, with everyone, because we understand that this is what everyone is experiencing. And so practically, what does that mean? It means accepting that we're all different, we all have a different way to interpret reality, things, what is said, what is logic, what is right, what is wrong, and all of those things. And we must accept people for who they are, if we love them, but also accept that some people we will never be able to connect with because we are not sharing the same reality. We're not even speaking the same language, so we can't explain to them anything that we see from opposition because they see something else. And this is the thing. They see what they see, we see what we see. No one is seeing the truth. We're just seeing our truth. This is the hardest thing for people to grab and understand. But it's really one of my handful of main topics that I want to push in my book and in my future content creation. And so, yes, that kind of link to quantum reality. All realities exist at the same time. And what defines and determines someone's reality is the position of the observer. A reality is only determined by the position of the observer and the tools that they use to measure that reality. And so the tool that we use to measure reality are our subconscious belief system. I know it's a little bit heavy, but I can talk about those things for hours if you want to ask me more about this. But essentially, a very simple way to apply the principles of quantum physics in psychology is to realize that everyone has a different flavor and interpretation of reality at any moment. We may share some perspective, but no one has the exact same interpretation of the reality always with one person, with someone else. Even if I'm having a situation with someone, I'm here, they're there, just the visual is different, the angle is different. And so this is only one thing. There are millions of things that affect and create a reality. And so, yes, I don't know if it's any useful to you or if it makes sense, but this is it's a conversation that I want to really explore in more depth and find a way to teach in very simple ways, hopefully in the future at some point. Does it help, Bin? Is it interesting? Super Mario, thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for appreciating the live. Carlo, you spoke of expectations being a product of survival mind, whereas creative mind feels safe/drawn to the unknown. Do you have a practice to support creative mind / assuage survival mind? So it's not about having had to switch from here to that. It's about realizing that our mind is going to be either survival or creative, depending on our environment or our perception of our environment. And so we don't switch from a survival to a creative mind. Your mind becomes a survival mind when it thinks that it has to become a survival mind. It's embedded in us. It's a system that is there, but has kept us alive for zillions of years as far as species is concerned. And so we can't change that program. What we can do is to change the belief that we have about the world, about reality, about the others, and realize, tell that mind, you don't need to be on a survival state anymore. You're safe. And as you do that, through healing, through therapy, through self-discovery journey, through meditation and mindfulness, through all sorts of different spiritual practice, holistic, whatever, through whatever works for us, psychology, understanding the mind, as we heal and we realize that we don't need to be in a survival state. Now we're going to be able to unlock our creative side. We only have two modes. We can be on survival mode or creative mode, but we don't choose that. This is the result of how we feel about our environment. And so this is highly to do with our upbringing, with our trauma, with our baggage, with the filters we've created in childhood. So we don't really have access to that. We behave in whichever way we're meant to behave based on what happened to us. and based on our environment as well. So if we still are surrounded by people who are toxic, who are hurting us, who are gaslighting us, who are manipulating us, then it's going to keep us in that state. And so let me read this again. You spoke about expectations being a product of survival, whereas creative mind feels safe and drawn to the unknown. Do you have a practice to support creative mind? Yes, heal. If you want to have a creative mind, you must heal and let go of the emotional wounds. Let go of the limiting belief. Let go of the emotional triggers. Let go of the trauma. Let go of all those things. And as you do that, eventually your mind will realize, okay, now I don't need to survive anymore. I'm at peace. I'm safe. Now let's create something. Let's be inspired. Let's do what we are meant to be doing. I watched a video yesterday, and a lot of people say that, some coaches on TikTok. The guy says, your brain is designed for survival. And so that's why you feel terrible, because it's designed to be negative. It's not true. Your brain can survive if needed, but it's not designed for that. It is designed for evolution, for expansion. It's designed to adapt, adjust, grow. Just like the universe is constantly expanding, our mind is an expression of the universe, and it's also designed to expand. That's what it's designed for. We are designed to grow, to expand, to evolve, to make the most of things. However, our mind can also survive if needed. What's the difference? You don't want to believe that your brain, your mind, is designed for survival, because this is terribly disempowering. Think about it. If that was the case, then what it means is that we would all still be cavemen. We wouldn't have evolved. If we just survived, we'd be very good at being cavemen against whatever predators. But we have evolved despite everything that happened to us in throughout the human history, throughout time and civilizations. And so we are not designed to survive. We are designed to grow and expand, just like the universe. But we can survive if we have to survive. That's a very, very important nuance. I'm feeling so sad when I see so many people perpetrating the myth of hardship. Life is hard, you must work hard, everything is negative, it's good, be strong, be brave. No, it's not that. You're making it hard on yourself. Realize that it doesn't have to be like that. If you suffer, if you are dealing with some stuff, maybe in that moment you want to learn how to be strong and brave, because that's the only thing you can do in this moment. But the next level, once you have healed, you realize that you don't need to be strong or brave, because you have created a reality. You live in a world where you are safe. And so now, because you don't need to be strong and brave anymore, you are no longer on a survival mode. You're allowing inspiration. You're allowing for the universe to support you, to help you being creative and create that life that you're always meant to create. Because that's why we are designed for, to create, not to survive. So that was for Calo. What do you think about this? Bin, yes, thank you. Calo, thank you. Yes, that is clarifying. Fantastic, thank you. Melody, Fanai, will the world end? Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't really matter. The world is the world. We are an experience. What matters is our experience, and our experience will end, that's for sure. But what will end is our human experience. And so it's all now we're talking about spirituality. It depends on what you believe. I believe that we are infinite consciousness. I don't believe that there's death. I believe that we are here to experience the human experience. And so in that moment, we are the human ego, finding out who am I, what is happening to me, why am I like that, why am I like that. But I believe that when we die, when we are dying physically, just 1 second, please. My watch is telling me to put my last TikTok post out now. Because I have ADHD, I've got to do it. I'm sorry. Otherwise, I will forget it, and it will never go out. Sorry about that. Okay. So yes. So when our physical body dies, we are still energy, and our consciousness just goes in another dimension. I believe in quantum physics. I believe that all dimensions, all realities exist at the same time, and we're only experiencing what it is to be self in this moment, in this life, in this story line, in this experience. But when we're gone, we're going to return back into the universal consciousness. Because this is what we are. We are a fragment of the universal consciousness. Think about the universe like a mass of energy, a whole big intelligence. And the universe is what it is. It's everything in time and space. But it's got to fragment itself. Because if it doesn't fragment itself, nothing is happening. So now we're talking again back to yin and yang. It's got to create black and white, day and night, positive, negative, and then it's going to create people, perspective, so that now there are things happening. And through the happening, through the creation and the destruction and the rebirth, now we have evolution, expansion. And this is how the universe expands itself, by fragmenting itself, and we are a fragment. We are a fragment of the universe. We have forgotten that we are a fragment of the universe because we're here to experience the human experience. So if I could remember that, I wouldn't be really experiencing what it is to be human. I wouldn't be really experiencing what it is to be scared of death. I wouldn't be really experiencing what it is to be sad, to be in a state of despair, to be angry, but also to be hopeful, to be joyful, to be happy. And so as we expand in our human adventure, we're expanding the universe. And so with the word and, it depends from which perspective you look at it from. I believe that it's not the world, the infinite worlds, and we are just skipping, moving, traveling from one dimension to another, depending on what our consciousness is going to be focused on. But I believe that consciousness is infinite. I believe that when we are ending this life, we're just going back into the universal consciousness. We choose to come here to see life from the perspective of self. But we could have chosen to be someone else. We could have chosen to be an animal. We could have chosen to come into this dimension to be the wind, to be a tree, to be a rock. It doesn't matter. They're all different perspectives. And so this is just me talking about my own spirituality. So I hope that for some of you it makes sense. If not, ask me. And also, it's just what I think. I don't impose anything on anyone. I believe that. I appreciate that there's all sort of different belief systems out there. I appreciate religions. I appreciate everything. But this is the thing. Because I understand the principles of quantum physics applied in psychology and spirituality, I accept everything. I accept that everyone have their own belief, their own reality, and it's okay. The only problem, and it's the problem that is causing all the troubles in the history of humanity, is that some people are unaware, unable to accept that. They believe there's only one reality, it's my reality. There's only one truth, it's my truth. My truth is the only one truth that matters, and I'm going to convince everyone and force everyone into my truth. Otherwise, they're going to be destroyed. They're bad. They must be punished. So, I think some of you understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about religion here. So yes, but the world may end, and it doesn't really matter, because again, there are infinite dimensions, infinite planets, infinite versions of planet Earth. We're not that important as a species. The only one thing that really matters is your own experience and what you can bring into your own experience throughout your lifetime. Melody, hello. Carlo, so true. We have been artists from the very beginning. Cave painting, storytelling, dance, astrology, and plant medicine, caring for ourselves and each other, so much more than survival. Thank you. Yes. Bin, from your experience, what's the most important thing a person can do to truly understand others better and their perception? By practicing empathy and compassion. That's it. Learn how to put yourself into other people's shoes. Learn how to see things from their perspective. We suffer because we see everything from our own vantage point. That comes with all the trauma we had in our past. And we're going to project that. We're going to assume, we're going to expect. And we're creating a reality that is difficult and problematic. But if we can see things from other people's perspective, if we can talk to them, if we can choose not to assume, not to judge, but just talk to them, connect with them at a deep level, at an emotional level, engage in conversation. Now you can realize, we're all the same. They're not what I thought they were. And this is how we learn how to expand our awareness. Empathy. Learn about empathy. There are three different types of empathy. The first type of empathy is cognitive empathy. So we understand from an intellectual perspective what they are going through, but we don't feel it. And then there's emotional empathy. We can feel what someone is going through, but we may not understand necessarily the story behind it. It's just we can literally feel what someone is feeling. And then there is compassionate empathy. So that's when we are either able to feel or understand cognitively or both, but we want to help them. And so that's when empathy becomes useful. We want to connect with them, we want to talk to them, we want to help out each other. And this is the most powerful form of empathy, because now we are making this world a better place through our own behavior, through our own actions, through our own feelings of ourselves as we are doing those things. So yes, empathy. When I was young, I read a quote in a magazine called Rock and Folk, which is Rock and Folk, a French magazine about music. And there was an interview of Stevie Wonder. And a journalist asked him, what is the most precious things that anyone has ever taught you? And he said this: never do unto others what you wouldn't want others to do to you. And this is it. It's still there in my mind. And essentially, put yourself into other people's shoes. And as you practice empathy, you are expanding your mind, because the more you can see things from different perspectives, the more you understand things from different angles. It's not about knowing more things. It's about looking at what we know from different perspectives as well. Because if we can do this, we can change our life. Very often we're unhappy with our reality, with our life. We want to change things from where it is. And we forget that more often than not, we can not change anything. We don't have that power. We don't have a magic wand that can allow us to transform things and people and situations and our past. But what we can do is to change the way we look at those things. And so we are changing our position as the observer. We are changing our perspective. And this is pretty much the premises of healing, growth, self-development, and anything at all. We want to realize that we can't change the things as they are, but we can change how we feel about those things. And as a byproduct of that, as a result of that, then those things will also eventually change. Does it help, Bin? Do you find this interesting? Can you relate to anything that I said? Caro, love your TikTok post. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate them. And I put them also on YouTube. There's a slight delay, but I put 3 short videos every day on TikTok and YouTube. And today, I've edited my first long-form video in a long time. So I recorded it Monday, and I'm going to post it sometime next week. And so from next week on YouTube, I'm going to resume my production of long-form content. So if you enjoy my shorts, if you enjoy my live, check them out. I promise you every week I'm going to make sure that there's at least one long video. And I will get rid of all the old ones. They're very cringy. I have evolved a lot as a content creator ever since. And so I'm going to leave them for another month, but I will hide them all at some point, and they will be replaced by a whole brand new collection of long-form content. So if you have any questions, any things you'd like me to talk about, just tell me, ask me on my live, on the comment sections, and I will use some of your comments as an inspiration to write script and create future long-form videos. Bin, thank you. Yes, that was very insightful. Fantastic. I'm glad you appreciate this. Ula Claire, your voice is so lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you. I didn't have that sort of voice in the past. I used to shout a lot. I was very aggressive. But as I've changed, and as I've also started my career as a therapist, that came out. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad that you appreciate my voice. Okay, anyone else has anything you'd like to talk about? Again, I'm a therapist and coach, and I come here in my free time to give some advice or just have conversations about anything to do with mental health, with therapy, with psychology, with spirituality, with mindset, mindfulness, any of those things. If I don't get any new comment within the next 5 minutes, I will go quietly and I come back some other time. Ula, can you explain your type of therapy you do? I've never heard of RTT. Okay. RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy. And it's a system invented by Marisa Peer. And it's a blend of hypnosis and regression and belief reframing at a subconscious level. So it's like hypnotherapy on steroid. So what we do, we understand that all of our problems today are created by some belief that we have put into place when we were a child because of whatever happened to us then. And because it's a system that was created by a child, it was never designed to sustain the life of an adult. And so it's become maladaptive. And now it's gone out of control and creating problems like anxiety, depression, overthinking, low self-esteem, self-sabotage, addiction, anger, stress reactivity, any of those things and more, they are all the natural development of some belief we put into place in childhood. And so belief are subconscious, they're emotional, they can exist in form of emotional triggers or emotional blocks. And so with RTT, what we do, we use the tools of hypnosis to find out when in the past we have created those systems. Something happened to us and our mind, our child's mind at the time, believed that it was a good idea to have a system in order to go through whatever we've been through. And so by changing the energy of those memories, we are upgrading that belief. And in turn, we are changing the way someone is going to react emotionally from that point onward to whatever has been triggering them ever since. I hope it makes sense. All of our problems are emotional. They don't live here, they're there. Even if our problem here is because it started there. So we need to address things from here. This is why talking therapy doesn't transform people. It may be helpful and useful and enjoyed by some people because it's not a bad thing to understand and to have someone that listens to you if you have a good therapist. But talking therapy don't transform people because the problem is emotional. It's in your body, it's in your nervous system. It's not in your brain, it's not in your head. And so with RTT, we address the emotional wound. We change the emotional intensity. And then we change the perspective, therefore, of the person. Whatever happened to me then. If it happened again, now I'm a grown-up. I can deal with that. I don't need the fear, the anxiety. I don't need the panic attack. I don't need the self-doubt. I don't need the intrusive thought. I don't need any of those things anymore to survive. Because I can do this myself with my own cognitive, rational, logical mind. And so now, the body, let's go of that system, and then we first change how we feel. And then we address also how we think. So this is me using other tools through my mentorship to teach people how to understand their emotions, how to deal with stress and adversity, how to regulate how they feel if they're overwhelmed, how to see things from a different perspective as well. And that's it. So by the end, it's like an MOT of the mind. We have addressed people from both the subconscious and the conscious mind. Does it clarify this for you, Ula? Caro, could you please speak on the impact on trauma and how to heal? Okay. So trauma is a situation that was so overwhelming, so distressful, so scary to us. And because we don't have been given any system to deal with that, we don't have any coping mechanism, that event, that situation has changed how we think, how we behave, how we feel, how we react, how we see and interpret reality. Trauma is not the event in itself. Trauma is how that event has affected the way we operate. And so when we're traumatized, we develop systems, the systems that I was talking about, we develop systems to stay safe. So there are two types of trauma. There's trauma with a big T, as in abuse, or one event that is overwhelming, like if you have an accident or something like that. But there's also trauma with a small t, and that's one that we don't talk about enough, and that's neglect. That's a lot of little things that happen over a long period of time that keep on denting our happiness to the point that it's going to change how we feel about ourselves and the way we operate. So typically, living with someone who is narcissist, for instance, can create CPTSD because over a long period of time is death by 1,000 cuts. Little things, and eventually that could also be depression. That could also be us going through a life that is too stressful, or if we have some physical illness and we're always in pain over a long period of time, it's going to affect the way we operate, because now we're going to always be on a state of defensiveness and protection. So this is going to change how we function. How to heal from trauma is different from everyone, but again, based on what I know. So it's not just me, I'm not trying to promote the RTT itself, although it's not a bad thing to do because that's what I do. But I talk about it because this is what I know. This is the tool that I use. But RTT is a fantastic tool to deal with trauma. We go back into the situations precisely that has gotten us to create the systems of protections. And then we realize that now it's no longer like that. So we are basically reprogramming the subconscious mind to realize that we don't need to have the hypervigilance. We don't need to have the paranoia. We don't need to be a people pleaser anymore. We don't need to feel like we are rubbish. All of those things are different evolution of trauma. And so, yeah. So that's one of the way, but it's not the only way. I've got to be honest. There's a lot of different protocols out there. The main thing when it comes to trauma is to realize that talking therapy will not do much. It will help you feel heard, and it's not a bad thing. But it's not going to change how you feel, because trauma is happening in your nervous system. It's not here. I mean, your nervous system has affected the way that you think, but it still starts from there, right? And so you want to find some systems that are basically accessing your subconscious mind. Some people can do it through mindfulness and meditation practice over a long period of time. But there are also some alternative therapies other than RTT. EMDR is one of them. And so it's for you, if you have that problem, to find out what is there around, do your own research, and see what protocol seems right for you. And then next, the most important thing is to find the right therapist, because the tools are only tools, and they're only as important as the person using them. They're only as efficient as the person using them. So it's very important to find someone with whom you can connect with emotionally, and you trust, know that stuff, and can help you out. But yes, trauma, what we want to do is to realize that we are safe, essentially, and that we are no longer in the position we were in the past. We want to have a coping mechanism to know that if what happened to us in the past was to happen again, now we can use that coping mechanism to deal with that thing. We want to have a stress regulator. We want to have a system that reassures us. And we are thinking, okay, it happened, but now I'm good. I know what to do if it happens again. And if we know what to do if it happens again, we don't need to have again all of those subconscious systems we put into place to keep us safe. And we can be confident and trustful with our life, with people. That's it. If you can, anyone who asks me questions, if you can be more specific, I will then also have the opportunity to be more specific. But other than that, based on what is said, this is what I would say. Bin, from a psychological perspective, what do we actually mean when we talk about consciousness? Is it simply awareness, or what is it that it is aware? There's a lot of different definition depending on the context, depending on the people who are talking about those things. But to me, consciousness and awareness are pretty much the same thing. Consciousness is us being able to experience something. You are conscious of something. Maybe awareness is slightly different. Awareness is um, actually no. I just let me correct. I was wrong. Consciousness is the ability to experience something, and awareness uh, is how much we can be conscious about. So we have different level of awareness. The more awareness we have, the more we can see the bigger picture. The less awareness, the more we are zooming in, and we have a very limited, narrow understanding of the world and the reality. And so it's different. Awareness is basically the scope of our understanding, and consciousness is the very ability to experience something. I hope it makes sense. Mind of man. Is this similar to somatic therapy? So somatic therapy is not a thing. There are a lot of different types of somatic therapies. But somatic therapies are essentially things that are to do with our emotions, with our body. So there are a lot of them that consist about moving, shaking, shouting, hugging a tree, doing things like that, doing all sort of different movements, and those are great things as well. And so yes, EMDR is a type of somatic therapy. And I think anything that is to do with your body and your emotions could be put into the umbrella of somatic therapy. But RTT tends to be more often than not classified as a form of hypnotherapy because it's a very specific protocol, hypnotherapy. And so I think it's debatable. All of those terms are quite relatively new. There are new stuff coming up all the time. What we understand about the human mind is very recent. It's only in the last 25 years that we're starting to understand things in a way that is positive, productive, helpful, efficient. Before that, I often say this, even back in the 1990s, there were a lot of terrible things done in the name of science, and it was just barbaric, ridiculous, and wrong. And so we don't. So that's why there's so many new things, because we're utilizing a lot of ancient wisdoms with things that have worked also with science, and combined together, people are coming up with new stuff. And so, yes, learn about finding out what is there at this point in time and see if it speaks to you, and go on your own healing journey. But there are things now that can help people. Back in the days, and I was one of them, I suffered from my own things and I sought help, and no one could ever help me because people were taught the wrong things. They didn't have a clue. And still, many of people who are mental health professional are still misguided because they haven't upgraded their understanding of the mind. Ula, thank you for answering. I would love to try it someday. Okay. So there are plenty of offers there. If you like to work with me, there's a link on my bio that takes you to my website. And from there, you can send me an email and we can organize a discovery call, a free discovery call, or if you have anything you'd like to talk about, and see if we can work together. Carlo, thank you. That is so helpful. Fantastic. Thank you, Carlo. Josiah Lawrence. Hello, Josiah. We mature through suffering, not by age. Is this true? No, we mature by just virtue of time and us being on this planet and going through whatever we're going through. We can mature through suffering, but also through joyful and creative events. We mature through everything, right? And also maturity means different things for different people. But it's true that we don't mature by age, as in the age doesn't mean anything. I think maturity is a concept that is, I'm not sure if it's something that, everything is contextual. For me, I utilize the term maturity when it comes to emotional maturity. But again, it's a bit judgmental and self-righteous. It's more about understanding. It's about having enough awareness so that we can function in society. And for maturity, it means so that we can function as an adult. So that's why I don't really like the idea of maturity. It's a little bit, it's got a self-righteous connotation, which I don't like. You need to grow up, you need to be mature. To me, it doesn't speak, it doesn't say much. But just based on what you said, I'd say we change, we grow, we learn through our life, through the things that we go through, and we all have a different journey as well. And so it's not the age that is going to get someone to be kinder, or to be more intelligent, or to be more open-minded, or to be more compassionate, if that's what you meant. It is tons of variables and factors that I get little to do with time. But time is also one of the elements. But I don't want to glorify hardship and suffering. This is something that I absolutely am against. Because so many people believe in hardship. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Nietzsche. And it's rubbish. Trauma doesn't make anyone, doesn't kill anyone, and doesn't make them stronger either. Depression, anxiety, addiction doesn't kill me, doesn't make me stronger either. And so on and so forth. There's an idea of stoicism and heroism. Oh, I must be a warrior. And that creates toxic masculinity and a lot of problems for so many people. And so I would never glorify hardship. Life doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to make sacrifice. So many people are still worshipping hardship. You deserve success because you work so hard. You don't have to work hard. You don't want to work hard. You want to find something that you love and spend a lot of time developing that skill, that trade, that talent, so that you become good at it. It doesn't have to be hard. But everyone, I watch things all the time everywhere, and it's like, that person really deserves the success because they work so hard. That person is a good person and they've been working hard all their life. It's not that. We don't want to work hard. Working hard is like the myth of procrastination and lazy. Those are myths invented by capitalism to get people to do the hard stuff for others and kind of blackmail them into doing those things. Looking at my hair. So yes, Carlo, do you ever work with vagus nerve stimulation? Yes. So the way that we do this is through breathing exercise. So that's how we're going to stimulate the vagus nerve to go from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic state. But I'm not a somatic healer. I think there are specific names for those specific kind of things. I know a lot of colleagues who do things, but I don't. And so I wouldn't necessarily teach you any exercises. But I can show you the understanding of how it works and some alternative that works for you in regards to what you need in relation to your own healing journey. But yes, when we learning how to regulate ourselves is essentially vagus nerve stimulation. Mind of Man. I'm training to be a therapist. Okay, cool. My integrative course covers CBT, person-centered and psychodynamic therapy. I'm looking to specialize in trauma. After my course, would you recommend training in RTT? Yes, absolutely. You know what? I'm saying yes. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd say yes because I know that RTT is a fantastic tool. However, there are lots of tools out there. So maybe you may want to do something else. I don't know. Oh, this and that and that. What I would suggest to you is for you to think for yourself, why are you doing this? More often than not, we are interested by that field because we had our own problems. Or we know some people close to us who have had problems. And so this is the thing. If you want to be, for me, the best therapist are people who had problems and have overcome their own problems. So they understand how it feels. They can remember everything. They have a first-hand experience of all those things that they're going to address. And that makes a huge difference. Because there are no books that can teach you that. No books can teach you how it feels when you're depressed, when you're anxious, when you're overwhelmed, when you are desperate, when you are going through an episode of rage. I mean, it's happening all the time and you can't control it and you hate yourself because of that. No one can teach you how it feels. And so if you have been through things, I'd say to you, go through different systems to heal yourself, and then use the ones that worked for you. That'd be my advice. In my experience, the best therapists that I know have been through what they cover as specialism and they came out of it. It's very important to come out of it. Some people have the same problems, but they don't fix themselves, and that is really limiting that limits their reach. We can only help others to the level of which we've been able to help ourselves. We can only give what we own. And so if we are still struggling with something, we can only help someone up to that level, but not as far as we should help them as therapists. So as I say, it is so important to look after ourselves, to use the tools that we learn on ourselves. And so my advice to you is, if you want to find out what is best for you, I would suggest for you to address your own baggage. And whatever tool is going to help you best is the tool you should adopt within your practice with your clients, because you will have experienced how it feels to be to use that tool on yourself. Like me with RTT, I had many sessions on me before I decided that I would use that tool with my clients. It had to work on me first. Bin, what's the most powerful spiritual practice you've seen backed by psychology that really helps people reduce anxiety and feel more connected, and why does it work? Wow, there's a lot of questions in one. Let's try to understand. What's the most powerful spiritual practice? So spiritual practice, I'm not sure what you mean by spiritual. I think you mean maybe some alternative holistic practice that are to do with healing. And we're calling them spiritual because they're not backed up by science. Maybe that's what you meant. Maybe you're thinking about ayahuasca, about taking some hallucinogenic, or sort of things. But the answer that I can give you to the most powerful spiritual practice backed by psychology, backed by science, would be meditation and mindfulness. That really helps people reduce anxiety and feel more connected. And it works because, I don't know, where do I even start? When you learn how to meditate and be mindful, you are learning how to operate your brain the way we should be operating our brain like. And so, why does it work? I'm not sure I can explain why or how. It just works. Why does your heart beat when you move? There's a whole connection, but I'm not a biologist, so I won't be able to explain it in succinct terms. And it's the same thing with meditation. But let me try. It works because we suffer from overthinking. We suffer from being trapped in our head. We suffer from the own illusions that we have created in our mind because we don't understand the nature of the mind, because we want to be in control of everything. So we're constantly judging, comparing, assessing, assuming. We're thinking about the past and the future. We have anxiety about tomorrow. We have anger and resentment towards the past. We're all over the place. Mindfulness and meditation teaches us to be here, to be now, and to allow for all the noise to eventually disappear. And so that's how it works. This is why it works, because we are learning how to reconnect with ourselves instead of being overwhelmed by fear, by survival, by noise, by chaos. We're learning how to focus again. I'm realizing that I still haven't found a way to explain to you why it works. You know what? I'm going to think about it. I don't know yet. But it's a good question. It's a great question because it's such a simple question and I never thought about this like that. But I will think about it. I will come back to you at some point, or maybe in some of my videos, and I'll explain why and how meditation and mindfulness works. But I don't have to explain why. If you want to find out, there's also a lot of scientific studies that has been done, like tons. We put some electroencephalograms on people's head, on Monk's head, on Mathieu Ricard's head, for instance, and he's been doing meditation. And they've been measuring the movement of the brain, visualizing what is happening in the brain when we meditate, and And you can literally rewire how your brain works through the practice of meditation and mindfulness. There's tons of literature about it now. And they will explain it much better than me. That's it. That's my take. What do you say, Bin? Carlo, thank you. Thank you, Carlo. Tyler Durden, is anxiety considered a psychosocial impairment? I don't know. Let's try. Psychosocial impairment. Psychosocial impairment. Examples. So yes. Example of psychosocial impairment includes mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. So yes. So now I understand what psychosocial impairment means. It's quite straightforward. Yes, absolutely. If you're overwhelmed by your thoughts, by your emotions, if it affects your behavior, if it affects how you experience reality, then it will affect you socially. It will impair you socially. So yes, psychosocial impairment. Yes. Absolutely, yes. All mental, physical, and emotional conditions that prevents us to function are problems because society is designed for neurotypicals. Society has created a model, a standard of normality. And anything that doesn't fit into that normal is not only judged neurodivergent or wrong, inferior, but also people who are neurodivergent will find it difficult to function in that society because the society is designed on some abilities that people who are neurodivergent don't have. So it's not just about autism or ADHD, bipolar, anxiety, depression, borderline personality disorder, OCD, any and all of those things and more are preventing people to function the way society expects them to function. So yes, Mind of Man. I have gone through both physical and sexual abuse as a child. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm currently in therapy, working with a therapist to reconnect with my inner child. I don't feel emotions for myself, just others. Okay. I wish you all the best. Good luck with your therapy. Do your best. It's a journey. So keep coming to my live if you enjoy this. I'm going to keep doing this. Again, I'm going to try to do every Wednesday and Friday from 6 o'clock p.m. UK time. So we can always keep in touch, keep talking, keep asking me, and keep doing what you do. Sorry. There's nothing that we've been through that we can't change. But we don't know at which level of capacity we're going to change, when it's going to happen, at which rate of speed, in which amplitude. But change is a journey. It's not a destination. And so as long as you are started on that journey and you're doing your best every day to keep hope and to focus on your progress, then you are doing well. And also when it comes to trauma, I can absolutely guarantee you that there are some protocols out there that can absolutely 100% help you fix it. Again, such as RTT. If you have the right therapist, of course, it is absolutely possible. Good luck. But if your therapist is only talking therapies, you may want to find someone that addresses this. Find a protocol that can access this, not just talking. Trauma, again, they don't live in your head, they live in your body. Reads, hello, Mind of Man. I am in the process of learning to feel connected with my emotions. Fantastic. Yes, it's a great thing to do. Dissociated through the experiences of my nervous system froze. Okay, yes, I get it. Yep. Been more like meditation, prayer, etc. So yes, meditation, mindfulness, absolutely. Yep. Precisely what I was talking about. Praying is just a different type of meditation. Meditation is a broad word, and so there are a lot of different ways we can do this. Taro Durden, appreciate it. Okay. Caro, this is a personal question. The woman in the picture behind you reminds me of my mother. Oh, wow. Could you share the story behind it? Also, is there anything you are currently reading you would suggest? So the woman behind me is my mum. So that's my dad and my mum when we get married, many years before I was even born. And we had a very tumultuous relationship in the past, but now we're good. And this is my tribute to them, to show them that I am grateful to have had them in my life, and I love them, and I appreciate everything now. I'm able to do this. And readings, I'm reading a lot of books. I'm always reading tons of books. I use audiobooks because it's easier for me to absorb information using that that system. And so there's one that I've been listening for a while, and I really enjoy, but it's quite deep. I don't know if it's for everyone, but try this if you enjoy reading about the mind. One of my favorite authors is called Robert Sapolsky. Robert Sapolsky, and the book that I'm reading of him at the moment is called Behave. And it's very, very, very powerful. It's very deep. He's very clever. He's very knowledgeable. He's a neurobiologist, amongst other things, and he's so incredibly intelligent. I love his stuff. Very also useful. So yes, and I read another book from him many years ago called Zebra Don't Get Ulcers. But the one I'm going through at the moment, Behave, is a whole different level. The amount of information there is really mind-blowing, like page after page. It's quite heavy. So there you go. Behave by Robert Sapolsky. Mind of Man. Thank you, brother. See you on Friday. Fantastic. My pleasure. Make sure that you follow me, that you subscribe to my YouTube account if you haven't already, so that you can be notified when I go live. Sometimes we forget these little things. Lady C. Hello. Bin, thank you for your answer, of course. Carlo, thank you for sharing, Didi. My pleasure. Okay, I'm going to stay another 15 minutes, maybe, up till 8 o'clock. So if you have anything you'd like to talk about, now is the time. Black Dragon Fire. Cool accent, by the way. How would you advise someone struggling with addiction and want to stop but keeps going back? Okay, so we can talk about this very well. I've been addicted myself up to the age of 38. I was addicted to class A drugs and alcohol, amongst many other things. But those were the main ones. I was addicted to sex and anger, rage, dark thoughts, all sorts of things like that. But essentially, drugs and alcohol. And so, do you want to tell me more about yourself? If you can give me more, I can be more specific for you. If not, I can tell you what I always talk about, if you just ask this. And basically, that is that addiction is a system that we develop to compensate for something else. And so we want to see addiction like the smoke to a fire. We want to address both the fire and the smoke, not just the smoke. Otherwise, the addiction will come back in another shape, like Hydra. It will grow another head. And so what is the cause of the addiction? It is all sorts of things. It is trauma. It is depression and anxiety. It is a neurodevelopmental disorder that is preventing us to feel safe in this society that is neurotypical. It's all of those things and more. And so if we are addicted to things, we want to first let go of the shame. We want to stop believing that there's something wrong with us, that we're weak, that we're inferior, because it's not like that. If people get addicted to anything at all, it's got nothing to do with the thing, with the addiction, or with our value as a person. It's just that we have been overwhelmed by life. We belong to a category of people who have a propensity, a need for addiction, because life is horrible. And so people who are neurotypical, people who don't have trauma, people who are loved and happy in their childhood, they don't get addicted. Because whatever that they're going to try, it's just an experience. They're going to maybe enjoy some of the things they try and not enjoy some others, but they don't need to be addicted. When we get addicted, it's because for us, it's different. If I have CPTSD, if I've suffered from conditions of my life, if I'm always entertaining some dark thoughts about myself, if I hate myself, I'm in a constant state of distress and unhappiness, and it's terribly unsettling. And so the moment I'm going to discover something such as alcohol or drugs, then at that moment I'm going to feel amazing. It's not going to be just an experience. It's going to be the first time I feel relief. The first time in my life I find solace from that pain, that hurt, that is constant, that is always there. And analogy that I often use is that it's literally discovering heaven, having spent our life in hell. And that's the difference. People don't realize that. People are not weak. People who are addicted, they get addicted because it's the one thing in their life that makes them feel better for once in their life. And so we get addicted. And so, yes, so my main, the main thing I want to say at this point in time is that addiction, we must stop stigmatizing it. It's not a good thing. We want to stop being addicted, but we want to understand that there's a reason behind it. Again, the fire and the smoke. For many, many years, if I didn't have my addictions to keep me alive, to keep me okay, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be gone a long time ago. And so in some ways, my addictions kept me alive. And so under that light, you know what? It's bad, but it's still better than not being alive. But again, of course, I am not encouraging anyone to be addicted. I am trying to raise compassion, awareness, empathy for people who are going through those things. So yes, I'm happy to continue talking about this, but you need to tell me more because now I'm hitting gridlock. I don't know what else to say. But tell me more about yourself, and we can maybe find some ways to explore how I could give you some advice for you to use in your life in regards to your addiction. Are you being looked after, and what sort of stuff are you addicted to? Would you mind sharing this with us? Lady C, when it feels like you want to move over to the side of not alive, where to start to step away from those thoughts? Okay. It's a tricky one. Generally speaking, when we are in those states, we are in that state, and the state is carrying us. So it's terribly difficult it's terribly difficult to realize even that this is happening. We're just being kind of possessed by the depression, by the dark thoughts. So it depends. I don't think that we can do this in the moment. I think that because if you could do that, no one would unalive themselves. Think about it. And I tried to unalive myself many times. So that's why I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to remember. And whenever I did it, I was just lost. I was on my own. I was over the place. I was scared. I was terrified. I was in pain. And so I had to do something to stop that. And so I think that the best way, really, to prevent this happening is to surround ourselves with people who can remind us that there's an alternative to that. I don't know if we can do this on our own. I'm just being honest. I believe that if we are still alive, that means we still have an awareness that there's a part of us that is still fighting for us and holding us back. But when we are not able to do this, then in that moment, that's what was meant to happen. So what I say to you is to prevent yourself to get into that state. That's what you want to do. When you are in a state, it's already too late. But you can do things to prevent yourself from going back into that place. So essentially, work on your depression, find ways to do things that make you feel better about yourself. Try to do things that are creative, that takes your mind away, that stimulates you positively, that makes you happy in any way. Practice meditation, practice gratitude, practice all of those things and more. Work on that. And surround yourself with people who can keep an eye on you. It depends at which level, at which depth you are in your depression. I'm thinking about extreme stuff when we're just about to jump. Right? But then there's always things that we can do depending on where we are. And again, it's tricky because I'm going to say you can think about the people that you love, but then I know that we may think about them and think, oh, they'll be better off without me. So it's really, really tricky. What I'd say is work on yourself. Don't think about what am I going to do when I get to that point. Think about what you can do now before you get to that point. Think about getting to that point is you being on the battlefield. So you want to prepare yourself before you get there. And how do you do that? By learning how to find some good things about your life to appreciate and to be grateful about. I hope it helps. Don't wait till the last moment. Maybe that's what I should be saying. Don't wait until the last moment to do something. Do it now. Take every moment that you can, any moment of awareness, try to do something, to learn, to read, to expand your mind, your understanding of yourself, of what you can do, but also just do things that make you happy. Spend time investing in your happiness. There are some things that makes you better than others. Now, when I was deeply depressed, music was my thing. Amongst others, I had my addictions as well. But I remember that music in itself saved my life many times. David Bowie saved my life, like literally, more than once. And so, yeah. I want to give you something because I don't feel that it's right for me to leave it like that. If you feel that you want to unalive yourself, I know what you can do. Take your music with you, go out for a walk. Walk and listen to your music. That will snap your train of thought. That's what you can do. If you're overwhelmed by an emotional state, what you can always do, and we can all do that, and I should have thought about this at the beginning, but it's okay, I get it now, is for you to snap from that state. When you're in a state of wanting to unalive yourself, it's a state. That's what I'm trying to say. When you're in that state, you are trapped. But there's still something that you can do. You can have an ice bath. You can do 1,000 burpees. You can run, you can punch a punching bag. You can shout, you can scream. You can seek some friends. You can do all sort of things. You need to snap out of that state. You don't want to stay on your own. You want to go out. You want to walk, move. That's what you can do. So try just that. If anything, remember this. Take your music with you. Put your trainers on. Walk, walk, walk. Like Forrest Gump used to run, you walk. and eventually, as you walk, as you move, you will change your physical state and your mental state at the same time. And you will start to... you will be able to escape that state eventually. And then what you want to do is to learn how to breathe mindfully, to come back to a place of stress and disempowerment, to a place of peace and mental clarity. You learn how to breathe mindfully to reset your nervous system. So try this. I'm going to leave that video behind. And so all the things that I talk about, you can all replay it if you want to retrieve some of the things that I said, just to say. So Lady C, so I saw a lot of little emojis. I hope maybe it was you. Lady C, what do you think about this? Bin, what are the top 2 or 3 most powerful tools you have found in your life that have shaped you the most, and that you are most grateful for having in your life? There are tons of them. It's not about, so this is the thing, people like to do those things, but it depends. The tools that work for me may not be the same that work for you. And also, the tools that work for you at this point in time may not be working for you in other time. So there's a lot of factors and elements. I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to find some things that can be useful, and it's totally understandable. It's very clever also to think about it like that. But instead of thinking about it like that, the best thing to do is for you to explore your own journey, to take your own note, to expand your own mind, to see what works for you, to proceed by elimination, and you will find out what works for you. What works for me doesn't really matter. We're all different. But I still want to give you something. This is, I want to, so let me try. Okay, I'm going to give you the tools. I know them. Mindfulness, that's a tool. Growth mindset, that's another tool. Emotional intelligence, that's another tool. That's it. 3 things. First, you want to have emotional intelligence to understand your emotions and your feelings. That is this. Next, you want to have a growth mindset so that you're always expanding your mind, open-minded. Next, you want to practice mindfulness because when you are mindful, now you can let go of what doesn't serve you. And you can focus. You can learn how to focus on what matters. And there's another one, number 4. I'm going to say something like hope or optimism. Hope, I think, is the tool. Hope, trust in the process. So it's a bit of a tricky one because if you suffer from depression, you don't have this. But at the same time, I don't believe that necessarily. I believe that when we're very depressed, we don't have hope cognitively. But I believe that emotionally, we still have hope because we're still alive, we're still here. So there's something about us, even if it's subconscious, that is keeping us alive and going and trying and hoping. But again, because it's not something that we can really summon unless we are in a good position, I think the main thing that I would say at this point in time, and you mentioned 2 to 3, so just the 3. Number 1, emotional intelligence. Learn about how to feel, what it means. Just 1 second, please. So emotional intelligence, growth mindset, and mindfulness. That's it. There could be more stuff like gratitude, acceptance, but those are maybe the one that we can literally teach people in very generalized ways. So yeah, I got the answer for you, Bin. Black Dragon Fire. It's more on alcohol and drugs. It's mostly loneliness I struggle with. Okay? So now we're talking about the smoke and the fire. And so now loneliness gets you to feel depressed, to feel empty, to feel hurt, maybe if you think about the memories of the past. And that's why you have alcohol and drugs. And so one of the ways to address this is to address the loneliness. Find out what it is that is preventing you from connecting with people. So again, do you have any help? Are you looked after? Have you done some work on yourself? Because this is very, very much what you must do. But if you don't want to go that path, you can still do something. Do what I've just said. Focus on the reasons as to why you are lonely. Find out what it is what you could do to change this. Expand your mind. I mean, I understand that it's easier said than done, but address the loneliness. That will be your fire. And as you do that, it will be easier also to address the smoke. Are you suffering from depression? Black Dragon Fire? I like the fact that you are called Black Dragon Fire because we're talking about fire and smoke. So it's quite appropriate. Lady C, thank you. It helps. Yes, fantastic. Black Dragon Fire. This is the longest I've watched a YouTube live. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate. I'm going to go soon because it's the longest. It's not the longest I've been here, but I don't want to go much further than that sort of time. And so I'm happy to stay another 5 minutes, but I'm going to go soon. What I'm going to suggest, Black Dragon Fire, is for you to subscribe to my account and come back the next time that I go live, which is going to be Friday. We can continue our conversation then, okay? Because it's time for me to resume my other stuff. Lady C, I will do. Thank you. Fantastic. First person Sherpa. By seeing you, I am remembering my school principal. Okay. I think your school principal was very handsome, if I may say so. I'm not sure what you're trying to achieve by saying this, but it's fair enough. There. Love your channel. Thank you. Thank you so much. There. First song. I'm not able to focus on my study. I am distracted too often during the study. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go now. Hold on to that thought. I would love to talk about this on my next live. If you can make it next Friday, this Friday, like in 2 days' time, 6 o'clock UK time, I'll be back here. And I'm going to do my best to come back every Wednesday and every Fridays, 6 o'clock PM UK time for at least a month to see if it works. Right? I want to create some regularity. I want to push my YouTube channel a little bit. So if you can come back and ask me again and remind me about that question, we can then address it together. Okay? There, heart emoji. Black Dragon Fire, definitely subscribe now. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bin, thank you for your time. There, love to all there. Person, where do you stay in the UK? What do you do? Come back and I will tell you next time. Okay? I'm from London and I'm a therapist. That's it. I write books as well, and I create contents on the social media to promote mental health, happiness, compassion, therapies, and all of those things. Guys, I'm going to go now. Thank you for attending, asking me anything. Do come back, do subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you use TikTok, I'm also on TikTok, both TikTok and YouTube. And if you need any more details about me as a therapist and coach, also there's a link on my bio to my website. So there's that as well. First song, all the best. See you again. Fantastic. Lady C, Didi, thank you. Okay, guys, I love you all. Look after yourself. Take care. Carol, thank you so much, Didi. I can't come Friday, but I'll be back next Wednesday. Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I wish you all the best. Until next time. And remember to be kind to others if you can. But if you can't, at least be kind to yourself. Okay? Thank you, guys.